but I am going to discuss a few political news stories today. Once again, like I usually do, we have the big Georgia Senate debate yesterday, so I got my thoughts on that. And obviously, what I do on my stream is as an activist, I'm an advocate of very specific policies as well. One policy I strongly advocate for is defund the police. And every time I hear media chatter about defund the police, I have to weigh in on that because I talked to a lot of abolitionists over the last summer. I've been working on 10 Demands Group. So I know how to debunk a lot of the bullshit narratives that come out regarding defund. And once again, it ties in with the Senate race because Raphael came out against defund the police. I think he always been against it, but he's aggressively running against it once again. And my thing is, and I'm gonna get into the story a little bit later. If you don't support defund the police, you are fighting against this new civil rights era that we are going through right now. We literally just had another black man shot by police the other day. I think it was Friday. Then maybe it was another one too. Like we getting new stories about the police shooting an unarmed black man. This guy, he had a sandwich and he was. I'm gonna pull a story up because I don't want to miss. I don't want to misrepresent the names. But if you join the chat here, say what's up. You guys can ask me anything. I appreciate you guys from watching. I have my YouTube channel here, the Progressive Martial Artist as well. Please follow, subscribe. How you doing, Seven? I appreciate you guys dropping through because I got a few stories. I want to roast the Georgia Senate candidates. I can roast all four of them. They all suck. I understand this is supposed to be an important race, but I'm not gonna hold my tongue when you got shitty candidates from both parties. Because I'm here at the start of the stream for once. Thank you for watching. I just appreciate anyone for watching my streams. I'm still new to this. That's why if anyone wants to, thank you. I was literally just about to say thank you, Gage. I need people to subscribe. I need people to follow because as you see, I don't got the best lighting here. I'll just rely on my desktop webcam. Very got any lighting here, but you guys like my political breakdowns, and I appreciate going on the rant. So I appreciate you guys watching. I'll try to get to your guys' questions, especially as more people run in. But yeah, let's get started on the Georgia debate. So I had a hard time taking what the liberals were saying about this uh, race seriously because what are the big headlines you've been seeing after the debate and what was the big storyline of the debate? It was the fact that John Ossoff and David Perdue, they didn't have their debate because David Perdue is a coward. David Perdue is anti-democracy. And my position is if you don't debate, there gotta be some sort of penalty. There gotta be something because that's a direct slap in the face of democracy when you don't show up to debate your opponents. And that's my position. And I've been consistent on that. I think you should have at least one. What's up, Rocky Flame? How you doing? I'm back. I'm back. You guys know I like to do my long streams. I'm back again. So, what was the big stories in the fallout of that election of this debate? Is David Perdue didn't want to debate John Ossoff, and I think he's a coward as well. What do you guys think about that? Do you guys think I'm gonna ask you guys the question? Do you guys think there should be any penalty for not showing to the debates? I think there should be. But what I find funny is how liberals they are melting down about the fact that David Perdue didn't show up to the debate. Meanwhile, they are silent on the fact that Nancy Pelosi refused to debate Shahid Buttar. She hasn't debated any of her opponents throughout the course of her entire political career. You guys know that, right? So once again, I'm consistent. I shit on David Perdue for not showing up to his debate, just like I was shit on Nancy Pelosi for not showing up for her debates. But where is the? This is what I don't like about politics. This is what turns so many people off of politics, right? Look at this. Look at the story from the Business Insider. Check this out. Where was this story during the? Oh, let me fix this here. So I take that. I block all these ads. But I guess I only turn it off for the sake of the stream. But where was these stories? Where was the televised debate that was showing the empty podium when Nancy Pelosi refused to debate Shahid Buttar? And Shahid Buttar, he actually did organize an empty podium debate with Nancy Pelosi. Got no media coverage. This is the kind of shit I hate about. Where's the blue checks? I was watching the trend. Like people, they were literally making a trend, right? They were calling Senator David Perdue a coward. Meanwhile, your girl Nancy Pelosi, she's not debating either. She's not debating either. Man, let me get to the comments here. I'm here. Pelosi non-debater. Fuck Perdue. Pelosi never debates anybody. That's what I'm saying. Where's the outrage? Where's the consistency? See, this is what I get upset at. Because people hate left Twitter. People hate Rose Twitter. People hate Rose Twitter because we're the only people who got a very set, defined belief system. Yeah, just like Jeremy Blair said, the media treatment of Shahid has been criminal. It's been criminal. And I understand that people on the left have their hang up over Shahid Buttar as well. But they didn't give him a fair hearing. They did not give him a fair hearing. And this is another example of them not doing that. Like you did not like the amount of outrage I saw, which was again, I agree with outrage. But where was this when Nancy Pelosi? Like, do you guys understand how bad it is? How much Nancy Pelosi disrespect the democracy? Nancy Pelosi didn't debate Shahid Buttar. She don't debate anyone in 30 years. Mitch McConnell debated Amy McGrath. And Dave Perdue, he debated, that's the dumbest thing. Like, Dave Perdue actually debated John Ossoff before. You realize that, right? They are shitting on Dave Perdue because he didn't do a rematch. Which, once again, I agree on. I think you should have. We need to have as many debates. Like, if you're in a campaign, what else are you doing? We should have a debate every goddamn week. There's so many issues to discuss. There's so many happenings that you as a congressman is supposed to address. There's so many pressing topics to discuss. There should be a debate. Make it an hour long, 90 minutes, every week in all these congressional races. And so that way, if you want to make a very informed vote, you have access to that. But we don't do that because that will actually put the power to be in a position where they have to be held responsible for the positions and where they actually got to show knowledge on important issues that go to Kelly Loeffler, the Senate. Am I saying her name right? I don't say her name a lot, and I don't watch TV news, so I'll read it most of the time. I think Kelly Loeffler, isn't it? Am I saying it right, chat? She literally could not say anything except radical liberal this, radical liberal this. What is and I'm gonna pose this question to the chat. What is a radical liberal? I love you too, King. Thank you all and thank you for the follow. I'll propose that question to you guys. Let me I gotta do at least a little bit of advertising here. You know what I mean? Just a little bit, because I'm trying to get to 1,000 followers on Twitch. I'm at, I think, 600 or so. Trying to get to 100 subscribers. I think I'm at 22. It's hard, man. It's been hard, guys. So hope you guys, only if you enjoy, please follow and subscribe, just so I can continue to grow my influence on my channel. So I'm gonna say I'm roasting Georgia. The thing is, I'm roasting all Georgia candidates because like I said, I got a few stories lined up today, guys. And I'm explaining in great detail during this stream why I despise both parties and why anything other than massive amount of rage towards the machine is being soft in the establishment. And I'm gonna get into that a little bit soon when I got my stories in. And you guys know I'm very interactive with you guys because I appreciate you guys watching my stream. So if you guys see any interesting stories that you want to discuss, just put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Let's talk about it. Because I got my stories pulled up, but my channel is more, we are discussing these issues together. Like a lot of you guys, it seems like a few of you guys watched my stream before. I recognize Five Star in here as well. Rocky Flame, another homie of mine. And Ken, you're a new follower. I appreciate that. This is a interactive political breakdown, right? So I love getting your guys' comments. I love hearing stories when you guys share that. So let's keep that up. Let's keep that up. But the reason why I hate both parties, and the reason why this Georgia Senate race does nothing but set me off, is because all four candidates suck. Yes, all of them suck, including Raphael Warnock. Because the first thing he want to promote is how he's a champion of the defense budgets of the police. He's against defund the police. So anyone who followed my streams and watched my channel know for a long time how I view the battle against defund the police. Because I see us as warriors fighting on behalf of defund the police. I see us as the only serious people in the room. Because you have a lot of liberals, you got a lot of progressives who pretend that they are on our side, but then they're like, I don't know what the fund means. Like, bro, you know what it means. You're just being a useful idiot for the establishment. So the reason why I say we are the serious people in the room, because we spend all this money, a massive amount of money, on giant, wasteful police budgets, and they don't even reduce crime. They don't even provide any service to the community. So when you see LAPD, when you see NYPD, you see these weaponized vehicles. When you see that they don't even use half of rape kits, when you see that they don't even solve crime, when you see they don't prevent crime, and when you see they spending money like LAPD got these sports cars and shit, they got all these cool gadgets that never see the light of day. It's a wasteful budget that doesn't justify itself. Like we could easily take the money from the police budgets and spend this in education, spend it on programs that actually will decrease violence, decrease crime. The NYPD has 3 times the military budget of my country. That was 5 stars. What country you from? But that's a damning stat. I want to find this graph. Someone sent me this graph on Twitter. That's why I love my Twitter mutuals. If you find me from Twitter, because I already have people send me some cool shit, cool stuff. Sorry, you guys know if you follow my page, I got filthy mouth. I want to see if I can find it, bro, because there's actually a breakdown of police budgets, and it's insanity. And the reason why I don't take these people serious, Austria. Yeah, Austria. If remind me right, they are pretty solid social democracy, right? Austria. I heard good things about that, but I could be wrong. I try to keep my posts on other countries as much as I can. And just like Five Star said, defund is the compromise. It is a compromise position because we should have complete abolition. Defund is a step to that, in my opinion, because people are like, oh, that's crazy. You know what's crazy? Our current policing system is crazy. Our current policing system is crazy. Like, when in the history of humanity have we ever had a fascist police system like we have now? The police system that we have now is new throughout the course of human history. I want you guys to understand this. It's new, what we do now. We have a hired militia group known as the police that is not from their communities. So you have upper class, because these police, they make a lot of money. Don't get twisted. They come from suburbia. They drive to disenfranchised community to act as an occupying force. And the worst thing is, our taxpayer money pays for their salaries, and then they leave from our taxpayer money after being an occupying force where they're not doing anything they can to prevent crime. The only thing they do is harass us, give speeding tickets, trying to pull people over to dime bags. Like they're not stopping rapes, they're not stopping crimes. All they do is extract money from our communities. We pay taxes, it go to their salaries. Then they go back to their community and they spend money over there. So it's like you understand that our policing is a giant transfer of wealth. It's a giant transfer of wealth. Like we never in the history of humankind have ever seen policing done this way. Like back in the day, back in church, back when churches had influence, the churches ran a lot of different law enforcement programs that was based on the community. There are some aspects of that, like they was really strict on that as well. If you look at earlier, like Latino society, African society, like all societies that we have right now, age society, like there's never been this occupying force like we have right now. Never. Now get back to the original topic. I can rant on defund the police as long as I want. So my homie Seven, he put the story in here in the chat. Hopefully we get something powerful here. Let me let's see what story is that you pulled up on my. I still want to do the breakdown because the reason I even brought up the defund. Look at the American police military budgets compared. Oh, okay, so that's a good link you sent, Seven. Thank you for sending me that. Let me share that with the class. Let's share that with the class. Cause I haven't seen this yet. So once again, this is why I have fun doing this. We do. You guys share me stories that you see. It could be what we talking about. Don't have to be what we talk about. But let's react to this. Let's do this together as a crew. To look at American police military comparison of U.S. budget. Okay, I see. So they're comparing it to other nations. This is actually kind of crazy, isn't it? And I want you guys to know something because this is a point I made on my earlier streams before. Look at the countries. Look at the cities that they are in. Right? Look at this. All those are blue cities. All those are Democrat-ran cities. Isn't it? That's all Democrat-ran cities. NYPD, LAPD, Chicago, Houston. Someone, I know Philly is for a fact. I think Houston is Democrat ran. I gotta be careful with Houston. I gotta be careful with that one. I'm not 100% sure. But you guys give up. Like if you look at the giant police budgets, and this is something else that someone on Twitter broke down as well. All the highest ridiculous police budgets come from Democrat-ran cities. They're Democrat-ran cities. And you know what else that people don't like to tell you? I think I should advertise again. I think that's what I should do. I want people to know I'm breaking down police budgets. Now I'm gonna continue my thought because you guys know I'm trying to get better at advertising. The thing is, I have so many people. I got 53,000 followers on Twitter. Most of them don't even know I even have a stream. The people tell me that literally every time I stream, dude. I didn't even know you even have a Twitch page. I didn't know you had YouTube. You know why? Because I suck at advertising. I'm trying to fix that. So let's do this. Breaking down police budgets with homies. Join us in the chat. Whatever. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Join us in the chat. Let's discuss. That's why I like our community. My set of mutuals on Twitter is literally the best because people trying to give me credit for having these great takes. I'm like, bro, my mutuals teach me every day. Every day. Like I'm doing my stream right now, y'all guys teaching me stuff. And that's what made the left community a great community. It's the reason why I'm happy to have the voice I do. Because you guys are helping us out. Thank you for the retweet. Thank you guys for blowing me up. Let's break this down. The tweet that you shared earlier. Because I said I want to break down this story. This is awesome. And once I get done breaking down these budgets, let's finish our discussion about the Senate debate. Because I want you guys to read. The reason I even pulling this up because once again, Raphael Warnock is against defund the police. And people want me to be excited about this guy because he's black. He said, you're consistently good. Thank you. You guys are consistently good. You guys keep making me better. I want you guys to understand that. This is a team effort. Like my mutuals teach me my mutuals, people commenting, people talking on my stream right now. Awesome. Yeah, it's a jumping platform is hard for people if they haven't heard of Twitch before. I was on YouTube and I'm streaming on YouTube as well. And you can get a copy of all my streams on YouTube. But I banned YouTube because you gotta know like Kyle Kalinske, Mike Figueredo, they talk about it all the time. They're big channels. YouTube suppresses the shit out of left wing commentators. Like I will literally had to search my title. Like whenever I make a video, I would tweet it out, and all my views will come from Twitter. Every single one. I would literally have to check. I would have to like search the title specifically to find my videos. I would have to type like my name specifically to find my videos. So I'm still live streaming on YouTube, but I don't care about YouTube no more. Like I'm so close to getting YouTube monetization. Monetization. But I'm struggling, man. That's why I'm begging you guys to subscribe and follow if you have the money, because I am a complete freelance. A lot of you guys know I quit my job to help Bernie Sanders campaign, and the economy sucks. So I love doing this. So if you guys want to support my channel, please, I need all help I can get. Subscribe. I got my Patreon linked on the side on the page here as well as my PayPal. I appreciate just any support I'll get. What's up, Mel? So the police budgets, as we talked about earlier before, the Ukraine, like as a libertarian socialist, I don't like my philosophy. I explain this all the time on my channel because people are like, "What's libertarian socialism? How can you be a libertarian socialist?" Very simple. Everything that you propose to me must justify itself. What I mean by that, these giant police budgets, when you see the NYPD spend all this money, when you see us spend all this money on military budgets, when you see us spend all this money fighting the drug war, you have to justify that to me in some way. Meaning, I want you to explain to me, I want to see the correlation between this giant defense spending and a drop of crime rate. I want to see this laid out specifically. If you can't show me that, your budget's got to get cut. We got to reallocate those funds to something else. And that's what defund is. That is what defund is. $6 billion for NYPD. The Ukraine spend $40 million. Am I reading that right? $40 million. Oh wait, hold on. Let me make sure I get. Let me make sure I'm reading this right. Okay, so this is equal to the military budget. I'm sorry, equal to the military. So it's just one city. Once again, all these are Democrat-ran cities. But these cities alone spend more money than other countries do in the military. North Korea. Hey, Mel, how you feel about that? You see North Korea's up here. Educate my fans about North Korea in the chat. I'll leave that to you. She knows more than me on North Korea. So North Korea spend as much as the military as the LAPD do. Chicago PD spend as much as Iraq do. And they in Chirac. How $1.7 billion, and look at the crime rate in Chicago. How does that justify itself? And that's my ideology. Meanwhile, there's studies after studies after studies after studies that say if you invest in education, you invest in mental health care, you lower the crime rate. So why don't we do that instead of spend all that money? Libertarian socialism, according to wife with political science master degree, not only does this, but it's grounds to what? So she's saying that libertarian socialism doesn't exist. 7. Not only doesn't exist, but it's ground for divorce. So I don't know like what she means by existing. What I'm doing is explain my ideology, right? And libertarian socialism is 100% a day because it's based on the concept in which Noam Chomsky, because that's where I get it from. I literally get out I describe myself as a libertarian socialist because Noam Chomsky laid out his argument for anarchy, and he said that he believes that everything that the government does is justify itself. So I call myself a libertarian socialist because I take that idea and I apply it to social programs because I do believe social programs do justify itself. So, for example, I'm a giant supporter of Medicare for All because Medicare for All saves jobs, it boosts wages, and it boosts the economy. So that's a program that's inherently justifies itself. On top of the fact that it say 68,000 people from dying this year, so I'm a big advocate of that program. I'm a big advocate of canceling student loan debt. You know why I'm a big advocate of canceling student loan debt? Because if you cancel student loan debt, that boosts the economy. I'm a big advocate of ending the drug war. You know why I'm a big advocate of ending the drug war? Because once again, it doesn't justify it. So it's essentially a new version of Jim Crow. And now, if you are a critic of defund the police, explain to me how can you be against? I mean, how can you be for ending the drug war? I want someone to really explain it to me. How can you be against ending the drug war, but you're against defunding the police? Chat, do you understand what I'm saying? I want the chat to respond to that. So if you are against defund the police, but you are for ending the drug war, how do you reconcile those beliefs? Because you realize that by ending the drug war, you are essentially defunding the police. You realize that, right? And now you know why the Democratic Party is not for ending the drug war. So if you are a progressive and you are not advocating for defund the police, and you talking about you want to, I'm wearing sweatpants right now. If you are not advocating for defund the police, but you swear you want to fight the drug war, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? It doesn't make sense. And that's just one aspect. That's just one aspect of defunding the police. Once again, remember what I said earlier. If you're against defunding the police, based on what I've seen so far, like, cause there's decent arguments to be made on both sides. But you know what I see come from liberals and come from conservatives? I see people who don't even understand the very basic principles of the police and how they operate. They talking about, oh, this is what conservatives say all the time in opposition to defund the police. Well, we had defund the police. Who are you going to call when someone breaks into your house? My question is, who do you call right now when someone breaks in your house? Because I had someone break in my house, and guess what? The police wasn't there to stop it from happening. They was there to fill out the report afterwards. So what did they do to prevent that home invasion? Over half of the rape kits are not used. And a lot of times women are raped and the police don't, they literally say there's nothing that we can do a lot of situations. I made a thread a long time ago where I asked people to share their police stories. And there were people that told me they had people assaulted, they had people that had raped. And I know people that in the same situation that where they was harmed by this violent society that people are afraid of, apparently. And they called the police, and what happened? Nothing. They didn't stop. People watch Law and Order, they watch Rush Hour, they watch Die Hard, and they think that shit is real. Like, they literally think that there's like some cop that like Jackie Chan that's out here stopping crimes, like showing up like right in the nick of time. That is not the case. And someone making a great case right now in my chat. I'm sorry I've been neglecting the chat. Marcus for Left Flank Vet said, police rape women. 40% I've seen that study. 40% of cops commit domestic violence. I saw that study you're referring to. You know the fucked up thing about that story is a self-reported study. So now is a good time to advertise because I want people to know that. Because you know when they talk about that study, they was asking them. So before I dive into that, I thank you for bringing that up, Marcus. Thank you. Because I'm gonna advertise again because I can. Because I motherfucking can. Because I'm gonna let people know. I'm gonna say this is what I'm advertising. 40% of American police commit domestic violence. I will break down the study here and explain why that is a low number. Defund now. And I got a question to you guys, because if you're enjoying this stream, please follow, subscribe. Because who else do you see discussing defund the police like this? You have people who are scared to talk about this issue. And I'm going to explain why that's stupid later. I'm going to explain why it's stupid to not talk about defund the police later. Because if you are a leftist, if you're someone who's progressive, your job is to fight on behalf of these revolutions to shift public perception. right? So if you are joining the crowd that's saying, "Oh, defund the police is not a good slogan," you are falling for the crap of the establishment. But that's a story for another time. Because, like I said, I'm gonna talk about the 40% domestic violence story. Because I want you guys to realize that when they did that study, it was a self-reported study. And once again, I thank you for the follow, Marcus, for Left Flank Vets. And you also bring in great commentary in the chat. I appreciate your commentary. It's awesome. And I appreciate all you guys bringing up commentary in the chat as well, because I want to discuss the issues that you guys want to discuss as well. And Marcus brought up accurately that cops commit 40% domestic violence. You know that was a self-survey? You know what? So you know what I mean? That means these are the people that admitted to committing domestic violence. These are the people that admitted it. So can you imagine the people who was like, hell no, I ain't saying that shit. Not even on a survey. So 40% of the people admitted they commit domestic violence. So what? I ask the chat right now, what number do you think that actually is? What? If I'm generous, 50%? 60%? There's not a lot of progressive talk in MMA circles. Glad to see there's actual discourse out there. Dude, I know in my time I trained with countless martial artists. And martial artists are literally the best people I know in my life. The fucked up thing is the reason why I don't like the UFC is because Dana White, he's a right wing asshole. They promote right wing assholes. Colby Covington is a right wing asshole, but based on what I've seen, and once again, I think anecdotal evidence is the worst form of evidence, so I will be careful in saying this. But the vast majority of martial artists I know are really peaceful people. Because we don't have this ego. Like, I don't have an ego. I don't walk around like feeling like I'm the shit because I don't feel like I have to prove anything because I'm very confident in any combative situation. And a lot of times, male ego, Don Lemon is a Bacardi Democrat. Yo, drop y'all funniest ones. I love doing those. But based on my experience, to wrap it up, like warriors like Bruce Lee, um, Muhammad Ali, there are countless others who, and this is what you see in the MMA community as well. People who they take their martial art and they use that to make themselves a better person. And I can do a whole video on that on itself on how martial arts made me a better person, helped me with my confidence and it was just an overall positive. So I look at the UFC and Dana White and Kobe. Like those are very. I want people to understand. I believe, just in my personal experience, that's a very very small minority of martial artists. Very very small. I was talking about defund the police before that. Oh yeah, I was talking about Marcus. Marcus was talking about 40% of cops commit domestic violence. And that's something else that people bring up. They always use that to try to shit on black athletes and shit on athletes in general. They'll say, well, MMA fighters, they have a high rate of domestic violence. NFL players, they have a high rate of domestic violence. NBA players, they have a high rate of domestic violence. But you know, people from the military and people from the police, they got a higher rate of domestic violence than all those people. All of them. I see numbers as high. I'm looking at the comments. I see numbers as high as like 75, 60%, 50% of people who think they actually commit domestic violence. And these are the kind of people that police attract. So how can you reform the system that's already broken, and then you have the worst of society joining this profession? So the profession is already broken. It already gives people way too much power, and then you hire the people who want control and domination over people. Because that's why the numbers of people who commit domestic violence as police is so high. It's so high because these are the same kind of people who believe they have to have maximum amount of control. And these are the same kind of people who they have quick tempers. So they are more likely to be the one who snap on their family, right? These are not the best people. The people who want to be the cops, they are not the best people. And thank you for all the subs, guys. Thank you for sharing subs. I love my community. So, man, like once again, my stream and my channel is all about talking about defund the police because I see a lane being open for that for me. Because as someone like I work with 10 demands, I know a lot of people who work for the 8 for abolition. I talk to people who are actually activists who've been working on this for a long time, and I feel like a lot of people in left circles are intimidated to talk about this because we don't have popular opinion on our side yet. But I tweeted this before. I tweeted this yesterday. I'm glad this tweet did great numbers. I'm glad this tweet. I'm gonna try and find because there's a new polling that came out from Newsweek about defund the police. And I saw it, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of panicked when I first saw it because the headline is extremely misleading. Because the headline is saying, "Oh well, we can't defund the police because if you advocate for defund the police, you lose voters." That's what they say. I'm trying. Let me see if I can pull it up. There we go. This is my tweet breaking this down. Let's do this story here. Maybe I should advertise this. Maybe I'll just retweet it for you. Let's retweet that one. Cause while my format, I usually do a few stories, bring it to the chat. But let's talk about this now. Damn it. 50. Here we go. So you guys know the corporate media establishment is strongly against defund the police. We all know that conservatives are against defund the police. We know that for a fact. But one thing that people don't talk about enough, and this is a trend I've seen since the beginning of the Black Lives Matter protests when it started this summer, is how the liberal class and the Democratic Party was against defund the police. They were strongly against defund the police from the very beginning. They will use very sly tactics to manufacture consent against defund the police because they can't go out aggressively. They can't go out aggressively against defund the police because if they did that, they didn't want to hurt their election chances. That's why they didn't want to do that. So what they would do, and they would manufacture consent, say, "Oh, this is not the right message. Black Lives Matter activists gonna hurt down ballot candidates." Like they were doing a lot of slide messaging to attack defund the police as an idea, because they'll say, "Yeah, I understand what you guys are trying to do, but we can't run on this because we can't win elections on this." You understand? By them saying that, that's them trying to drive support down for the policy. Because instead of advocating for this policy, because let me ask you this: do Republicans stop advocating for a policy they believe in just because it's unpopular? No, people don't do that. You advocate against a policy because you advocate against a policy because you don't believe in it. So when they concern troll about defund the police, they are concern trolling against it because they don't believe in it. They don't believe in it. So I saw this Newsweek story where they trying to paint it as defund the police not being popular. I'm gonna pull the story up right now. This is my tweet and acknowledging that. This is why I tweet out. Because according to 538 of June, 53% of Americans oppose defund the police. And I want to talk about the exact numbers here because, to be clear, the polling, they do phrase the question a little bit different, but I'm going to tell you why I still believe it's relevant. Because according to the Newsweek article, which I'm going to pull up, only 35% of people say that would hurt them voting for the Democratic Party. And when this study came out, the people who was pushing this, the message was Democrats can't run on defund the police because the polling suggests defund the police will hurt Democrats. But you got to look into the study. The study, like this headline is manufacturing consent because this headline does not match up with what the polling says. And that's what my tweet get into. Because if you look at the actual study, Man, Newsweek, I'm not paying for your shit. Let me find the part where it said it. No, yeah, I think down here. So this is the part, and let me be clear. This is not great numbers, but it's not bad. It's not bad. So the results of this study show that 35% of respondents were less likely to vote for Democrats because of their support of defunding the police. And that's not even true because Democrats don't even support defunding the police. So this study is all about if people believed if Democrats support defund the police. So if people believe Democrats support defund the police, 35% of them will vote against Democrats. And my argument is that is not a bad number. You know why? Because this study, let me in the first part here, this is all voters. You guys realize that I'm trying to see if I can find the exact part that said that. Cause it like I said, it has both Democrats and Republicans in the study. I can't find that part where it says it. Let's see. See, it's 1,000 people. Like, don't read because what they're trying to say. They're trying to frame the narrative. So what they're actually saying here is not important. The poll says something completely different. I'm trying to find the part where it says. I don't think they mentioned the new week part. But if that's 35, let's see. Blah, 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 blah. See, this is just nonsense here. But if that's 35% of voters, you realize that includes Republicans, right? So if 35% of all voters won't vote for Democrats because of this, that means you have a vast majority, because that 30% exists across all demographics, because 30% of voters are against Medicare for all. 30% of voters don't believe we should cancel student loan debt. So that 30% is always there. This is what the article is not telling you. That 30% is the opposition. The 30% is people that we have to defeat. So, and the reason why I bring this up, and people were saying, well, it's not 100% accurate to bring this up instead of bringing up where they said people try to disapprove this. And the reason why I disagree with that is because this poll is actually, I would argue, the most effective poll in talking about issues. Because this polling asks the voters how it will affect the way they vote. That's the most important thing. Because this actually brings up political opposition. Because so they are saying defund the police is not, they shouldn't run on it because it will hurt their chance to win elections. But if you have a large percent of the population who said this won't affect the way they vote, that alone disproves your argument that it will hurt their voter. Right? So that's why I said in my tweet, I brought up, back in the summer, the support was 43% straight up opposed defund the police. Right? And now, after months of Democrats, the corporate media, the Republicans, and shitty ass progressives who've been pissing me off ever since Bernie Sanders dropped off. Because there have been progressives who've been hurting our movement as well. Because you guys are repeating the fear mongering, and you guys are repeating the concern trolling of the liberal class. And the reason why this is horrible, because this is following history of everything, of every single major social movement in modern history. Because every time there's a giant social movement, it starts off as unpopular. Do you know vast majority of Americans? Actually, I have that tweet saved as well. I'm gonna say that for shortly. But my point is, when you have a movement, it starts out unpopular, like it did in the summer. Like it started out at 53%. Then after months of chipping away, despite massive propaganda against it, we decreased the amount of people who opposed it. So we are making ground. That's a plus 18 shift. Plus 18 shift in anything politically is giant. And once again, I keep stressing this. Because we have so much against us as a movement. So defund police was minus 29 this summer, and now it's minus 11. Dude, that's a plus 18 jump. That's giant. And as activists, it's our job to continue to shift public opinion. That is what we are supposed to do as activists. So you have progressives that saying we shouldn't support defund the police because it hurt public opinion. You are a willful, ignorant fool of the establishment. And this goes to all you progressives who are fear-mongering about defund the police. I want you guys to realize that you guys are the moderate that MLK had talked about from the very beginning. Because check this out. This is what they said during the Civil Rights Movement as well. In 1964, less than a year after MLK March, Americans were more convinced that mass demonstrations harmed the cause. 74% felt these actions were detrimental toward achieving racial equality, and only 16% said it was helping it. So I posted this on my Twitter, and I called people out. I called the progressives out because they were driving me crazy. Because these people were the same people who would have been in the 60s, been like, "Oh, we can't do this. Oh, you guys are out of control. You guys are not advocating for social change correctly." They will be the same one that MLK people warned about. And I'm talking about progressives, because you see progressives talking about how we shouldn't advocate for defund the police. You are the moderate we're talking about. You guys are the moderate. You think you're an ally, but you're not. You're not. Because we need to advocate for these policies and do it unapologetically in order to build social national support. And that's why this storyline, once again, I saw this Newsweek story, and I initially panicked because the headline is all like, "Oh, this is why Democrats can't run on defund the police, because 35% of the population who are going to vote against Democrats anyway don't support it." Meanwhile, 26% said they would be more likely to vote for Democrat for that policy. So that study, with Newsweek pumped out, and I saw a lot of liberal publications quoting this study as a reason why we can't push defund the police. But that study said the exact opposite, because it says that 30% of the population that will always vote against your coalition is voting against defund the police. This election, Donald Trump got blown out. Donald Trump got destroyed by Joe Biden. He got destroyed by Joe Biden. Despite him being destroyed by Joe Biden, Donald Trump did better with Republican voters this time around than he did against Hillary Clinton. And Biden strongly came out for a defense budget, police defense budgets. So you're not going to win these Republicans no matter what you do. So I wanted to share this article because that Newsweek article is Manufacturing Consent 101. Because the headline is like, "Oh, this is why defund the police is unpopular." Meanwhile, the actual data is showing that we made ground since the summer. Since the summer, we increased the support of defund police because people are learning what it is, and they are learning. That's what it means to be an activist. So liberals, they say, "Oh, defund the police is not a good slogan because people don't know what it means." They say that like it's a bad thing. Chat, and I ask you, I'm sorry I didn't get to chat in a while because I'm doing the story, but I'm asking you, how is it a bad thing that we had to explain what we are advocating for? Because if we had to explain what we're advocating for, we are creating an open dialogue. So now that we advocate for defund the police, we are forcing people to address the fact that we have these giant police budgets, and we are slowly winning on support. So once again, remember I said earlier in the stream, we are the serious people in the room, not them. We are the serious people in the room because we understand how social change works. Barack Obama said social change, it takes a while. We understand that. That's why when defund the police started off as being an unpopular policy, we're like, okay, so this is going to take some time. But it's a worthwhile fight. It's a worthwhile fight to have. Even if it takes 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 10 years. This is a fight worthwhile having because we live in a fascist police state that is killing black people. And that's why Cori Bush is the next level. Because in response to Barack Obama, in response to Defund the Police criticism, she said, I don't want to hear none of that because Black lives are dying right now. We need results. So this is going to all your progressives. If you know any progressive who criticize Defund the Police, send them to my goddamn page. Because you guys are doing more harm than good. You guys are not helping us. You are against our movement. And I wish you guys would be honest about that. I wish you guys would be honest about the fact that you guys are anti our movement. Because as I showed you guys, the civil rights movement, the sit-in movement, all the protests, they never start out popular. Never. The women's suffrage movement didn't start out popular. The gay rights liberation movement didn't start out popular. Name me one giant social program, social movement that started out popular. Don't worry, I'll wait. It doesn't happen. We as activists, we had to build support for it, and that's exactly what we did. And we did it without the help of the progressive gaslighters. I'm talking to you too, Bernie Sanders. You don't get a pass for being against defund the police. Tulsi Gabbard doesn't get a pass for being against defund the police. If you're on the left, and I made a tweet earlier, I'm glad a lot of people agree with it. You don't get a pass for being against defund the police because you're harming our movement just as much as you harming our movement as much as anybody is. You are harming our movement as much as Republicans are harming our movement. You are harming our movement as much as neoliberals are harming our movement. As a progressive, you arguing against defund the police is as harmful as anyone else. You know why? Because MLK and Malcolm X called your ass out a long time ago for being a moderate who fearmongers and concern trolls that hurts our movement. So, when I share this study that shows that we had this giant plus 18 gap in approval rating for defund the police, I want anyone to realize that we did that despite Bernie Sanders. We did that despite white progressives fighting against defund the police. We did that on our own. We did not do that with progressive movement. And once again, I give giant props to AOC, giant props to Cori Bush. Because they are one of the people who hold the line. People criticize AOC, but she held the line on defund the police, which is a good thing. Meanwhile, you got other progressive leaders backing down on this shit. You got Raphael Warnock, John Ossoff against this shit. And I'm supposed to be on their side? Once again, I said, if you are fighting against this, you are as a big of obstacle to pass than anyone else. I hope you guys realize that. And this story lays that out perfectly. Let's get to the chat. And my man, Mel, she is dropping mad knowledge. Tom Steyer called for defunding the police via his organization, NetGen American. Who saw that coming? Like, who saw, like, if I was to, like, looking back in the primary, if I was to rank the top candidates, I would have Bernie Sanders, Marianne Wilson, maybe Tulsi. But I put Steyer over Yang any day. I put Steyer over Elizabeth Warren any day. Once again, like Mel in the comments, oh, sorry, forgive me, sorry, I dropped your name. But as you put in, like, I forgive and she is putting the comment here, he was a supporter of defund the police. That's giant. Big props to Tom Steyer for that. So let's find the tweet from Anthony Warnock. We talk about the police. What a fucking piece of shit. And this is the guy I'm supposed to take it easy on? This guy. The guy who is a instrument of our oppression by pushing this shit. Actually, let's tweet out another segment, because this segment is me roasting Raphael Warnock. So yeah, let's tweet that out and I'll get into that. I need to get into the chat because I've been doing my story for a while. Roasting. Let's see. How should I? I don't think I need to tweet this out, to be honest. How you guys liking the stream? Is stream quality good? Y'all having fun? Got any stories sharing me? Yeah, I ain't tweeting anything out in like 20 minutes. So yeah. So this is what I'm gonna do. Roasting Raphael Warnock for his opposition to defund the police. He is a black congressional oligarch in the making. Join me, comrade. I don't have to join me. Fucking watch the stream though. I got 53,000 subscribers. Need more people watch my damn streams. Yeah, start over Warren all day. But I gotta say that since I'm on stream though. Forgive me. Forgiving cheat. You know, I'm always gonna have beef with Tom Steyer because his opposition to Medicare for all. Sorry. You know I can't. That's too big of a stunt. Like I give Steyer what credit is due, but as long as he's opposition to Medicare for all, it's that you sound Brazilian. Also, some guy is a moderate view you may want to comment on. So I'm sorry, I've been also busy ranting. So if you guys have any questions that I missed in the chat, put it in there. Sorry, Raphael. Dude, I train like so I'm a martial artist. I train Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So I'm around. I was for years. I was around a lot of Brazilians. One of my original Brazilian jiu-jitsu coach. He came straight out Brazil. You can't even understand him. So I can't help. Wait till I see the name Raphael. I always say like Portuguese names. And the Portuguese way they pronounce because my own jiu-jitsu coach. He had a thick accent. I had a lot of friends who were Brazilian. I love Brazilians. Jimmy Dore need to have you on. He always calling your tweet, bro. That's what I've been saying. I told you, like, you got to talk about my accent. I'm a ghetto black boy from Kansas City who had only 500 followers last summer. I was not bred to be in politics. I don't have like the proper cadence. Hello, Aqua, how you doing? I'm too ghetto, too ratchet. That's why they can't. That's why a lot of these shows they can't invite me on, man. Like that's why I give a lot of props to Nico House. Nico House, he put me on the show. We vibe pretty well. But like Jimmy Dore, man, he put me on the show. Have been following your Twitter for a few months, but just sub last stream. So happy to hear your stream. Thank you guys for following my stream. Once again, I'm trying to promote my stream a little bit more on my Twitch. I mean, sorry, on my Twitter, because I got 53,000 followers and no one know I'm a streamer. Bro, I'm in school at UMKC right now. What's up, homie? Like I went to UMKC. I used to coach people from UMKC because a lot of people. I used to be a martial art coach back when I used to go UCM and UMKC. So, bro, I always said my comrades. I wanted to train all my comrades for free. So, if you're in Kansas City, you want to learn some Muay Thai, hit me up. I met so many of my homies from Twitter. Every single time I meet someone from Twitter, they're always cool as fuck. Like a lot of people know me from my time out traveling, canvassing for Bernie his campaign. I met a ton of people on Twitter from then. All of them awesome. I'm always open to meet people on Twitter and Twitch. It also helped because I'm a martial artist, so I'm not worried about meeting people. If I'm gonna get shot and killed, I guess it's whatever. But if you don't have a gun, good luck. That's how I feel. So, I'm loving the comments, guys. Keep it up. I can't wait for you to kick. Top notch. I'm not saying that. Shahid's tushy. I don't want to hurt Shahid. He's a good guy. He said, I represent real people. That's why I hope you guys subscribe because one thing I've been stressing, and that's why I have my Black Rose Brigade program. We haven't aired in the last 2 weeks, but there's just been scheduling conflict. I've been trying to air out the voices of Black leftists because I think Black leftists are largely underrepresented in independent media. I love Jimmy Dore. I love Kyle Kalinske. I love Michael Federato. I love all these people. But the most popular people on YouTube are white people. I love those people. I like those three in particular. Like the three I named, they're great people, but they're white. And then you have, and there's other people not to be named that you guys know I don't like. You guys know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of white streamers out there, ones who say the N word, for example, that are giant. Meanwhile, where are the black leftists? Where the love for the black leftists? The left, and progressives claim they love hearing from people of color, but all they do is watch white independent media. And once again, I'm not hating on those people. I'm just saying it's something I noticed because once again, I run stories almost every single stream. Brianna Joy Gray, big love to her. Big love to Benjamin Dixon as well. Big love to him. While we talk about black leftists, but how many people on their stream, how many people on their YouTube channel do you see talk about defund the police in the way that I do, in a comprehensive breakdown way? I'll talk about foreign policy as well. How many people do you see talk about this kind of stuff? That you only get these kind of perspective from not just black leftists, but people of color in general. People who live different. Tim Block is another good one. So please support not just me, but support not just black leftists, but people of color all across the board. Because this is something that I just noticed. I don't see, mostly because it's a really bourgeoisie climb. Because as you guys see, I got ghetto equipment. Like my stream lags sometimes. My sound quality is sometimes not the best because it takes some sort of capital, some sort of privilege to be a streamer in some way. It took me literally months to build this up. So that's why you see nothing but more privileged streamers hit the mainstream. So anyone watching it that while I advocate for, so please follow, subscribe. I need some support. It's tough times out here. Very, very tough times. So only if you support the stream, PayPal on the side here, Patreon on the side over here as well. Let's see what the chat had to say here. And I got a few more stories we can cover. I'm about an hour in. I still got a few more stories. Maybe I should stream more. Like it's hard to stream. Like man, I want to stream. I need to stream way more. But once again, I live in a townhouse. I got roommates. So the reason why I stream like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at this time because my brother works right now. And I had a podcast scheduled for Friday, but he didn't work that day, so I just stream whenever I can. And if you guys enjoy my content, once I grow, I'll maybe I'll get my own place. I'll be able to get my own studio, and then I'll be able to stream like Hassan maybe do like 8 hours a day. I mean, I would love to be able to do that. My thing is I'm trying to grow, so that's the only reason I'm asking for support. And I don't need I'm not trying to ball, just enough where I can do this full time. Hopefully you guys enjoying it. So that's my goal. I'm very open about that. Boot to the heads in the house. What's up, homie? Glad he caught the stream. We still got a few more stories to do. Sometimes I wish you would stream at night. I wish I could too, but once again, I have roommates here. My sister just moved out. Like it's hard for me to stream at night. Plus, I don't got good lighting set up. Like most of my lights is like daytime lights. I got this lamp right here. So if I stream at night, like it'll be super dark in here. So I'm like literally relying on some daytime light here. I just don't have a studio, and that's my journey. As I get more support, I get a studio, and I'll be able to stream at night. Be able to do much more corroboration because I'll be talking about people in corroboration. This is our schedule now matchup. I'm happy to have all the comments in the chat right now. Very, very happy because I got a few more stories to run. Because I had that one story while I was talking about the Georgia Senate race, and it always devolves into me talking about defund the police because I don't. That's why I don't fuck with Raphael Warnock. There's the tweet he put out. Senator Kleffler. Like I don't see that name. I swear I'm saying it wrong. Kelly Loeffler voted against funding for law enforcement. Who's really against the police? I'm probably excited for that. Like, bro, you're siding on behalf of giant defense budget. And as I made my rant earlier before, like you gotta know that Senate Democrats take more police money than Senate Republicans do. And people think Black Lives Matter is a partisan issue. There's a reason why Black Lives Matter started under the Barack Obama administration. Democrats are responsible for this fascist police state that we live under. And Raphael wants to continue that. He wants to continue this fascist police state. And people wonder why I attack Democrats the most. I hear this criticism all the time. People are like, oh, you don't know anything about politics, bro. You don't know anything about politics, man. You got to learn how to win. Who is the naive one? I live in Kansas City. It's a blue city. Black people live in blue cities. Politics is mostly local. Local is the most, like, national politics is fun. It's great distractions. And there are some key issues that discuss on the national stage. But for the vast majority of the time, politics will affect you on a local level. Local legislation that has passed. Local budgeting. This is the most important stuff when it comes to politics and how it affects your day-to-day lives. And guess who I live under? I live under Democratic rule. Kansas City is a very blue city, despite being a red state, just like St. Louis, where Corey Bush is. Detroit, Chicago, LA, New York, Baltimore, Democrat-ran cities. So that's why I go after Democrats. Why would I spend my time going after Republicans when Raphael Warnock is taking the Republican position? He's supposed to be my representative. How am I supposed to do that? Right? He is literally fighting on behalf of the Republicans by saying this shit. But I'm supposed to be impressed. And this is why, once again, you guys should follow and subscribe to my channel. Because I criticize black leaders. And some reason I'm able to because I'm black, because liberals can't play. They always call me Uncle Tom, even though that's super racist. Once again, get into the racism of the liberal that I expose all the time on my Twitter page. Right? I go after the Black Congressional Caucus because I am allowed to, and I think black leftists need to be loud about their criticism of them. Because, like W.B. Du Bois says, people like Raphael Warnock, they joined the forces of oppression in order to advance their career because they see liberation as a form. They see you getting political power as a form of liberation. W.B. Du Bois warned us about people like Raphael Warnock. And that's why I laugh. Like, I don't care about that race one way or another. If Jamie Harrison won, I wouldn't be mad. But that's why I laugh when he lost. Because W.B. Du Bois warned us of these people. A lot of people, once again, people talk about left theory. People talk about left theory, and they always talk about Karl Marx. Because people, like, some reason on the left, people think theory is shit that old white people wrote in the 19th century. I want people to understand that stuff like W.B. Du Bois written right here and stuff written by Fred Hampton and MLK, that's left theory too. Old white dudes from the 19th century and the 20th century do not have a monopoly on theory. And this is what theory tells me. These are the people that I read. I read W.B. Du Bois, I read Malcolm X, and I read MLK, Angela Davis, like these amazing black leftists. This is what W.B. Du Bois said about people like Raphael Warnock, people like Jamie Harrison. He wrote this in 1960 in American Socialism in the American Negro. I read this before on my channel, but this is so important. Because this is the theory that a lot of people on the left don't even read. They love Marx, they love Lenin, but they don't read W.B. Du Bois. They don't know shit what Malcolm X said. They don't know shit what MLK said. You know who knows that? Black leftists. That's why you should follow and subscribe, by the way. So this is what W.B. Du Bois said. A class structure began to arise within the Negro group where it produced haves and have-nots. Once again, the haves being Raphael Warnock and Jamie Harrison, and the have-nots, me. I'm broke as fuck. Intended to encourage the more successful Negroes to join the forces of monopoly and exploitation to help victimize their own classes and any other lower classes that were possible. So what they're saying is, people like Raphael Warnock, as you see here, in order for them to get political, sure, the boys are fine. So the way they see politics and the way they liberate themselves from a racist system and not joining us in our fight for defund the police. They see their fight of liberation as joining the oppressors. And this is something that has happened for decades. Like W.B. Du Bois wrote about this in the 60s. This is a problem as old as the slave trade. Back when we had black oligarchs, they sold slaves for their own riches. So this is a long, long tradition and problem that not only in the black community but in other communities as well. That's why the quote that W.B. Du Bois put up here is so important, and this is why ever since they gave me a voice, I try to amplify this shit. Because even leftists don't talk about this. You see progressives propping up Jamie Harrison and Raphael Warnock, even though leftists like W.B. Du Bois warned against them. Once again, let me read that part again. A class structure began to arise within the Negro group, which produced haves and have-nots, intended to encourage more successful Negroes to join the forces of monopoly and exploitation to help victimize their own classes and any other lower classes that were possible. To remedy the situation, thinking Negroes still regarded the first step toward emancipation as being political power. That's who Raphael is. That's who Jamie Harrison was. And that's why I don't consider them my allies. And that's why people were like, oh, we gotta get these people elected. We gotta have the Democratic Senate. Why? The Democrats vote just like Republicans. The Democratic Senate vote for Republican judges all the time throughout the whole course of Trump administration. Chuck Schumer passing deals with Trump to appoint their judges. And then you look at the judges that Democrats appoint. These are the people like Ruth Bader Ginsburg that use the doctrine of discovery to justify putting pipelines in the land of indigenous people. And for people who don't know, the doctrine of discovery is an old, controversial ruling that made it so we can build on any land. So that's how we used to disenfranchise the indigenous people. That was their hero, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, voted for. They constantly, that's what they support through the court ruling. They support deregulation. So when you talk about Senate Democrats, they appoint judges that suck, just like Republicans do. They support judges that support the poisoning of our environment, that hurts black people. So when you look at the standard Senate Democrat, I personally will. I told you guys before, I voted against my Senate Republicans. I believe in change of leadership. But if you got a shit lib, I'm not gonna do that. It doesn't make sense to me. Because Jamie Harrison and Raphael Warnock are black congressional oligarchs in the making. Like people who watch my channel, I rail against the the black oligarchs all the time. And if Jamie Harrison won, remember he broke records for fundraising. Can you imagine how much of a pain in the ass he would have been against the black community? Smoke a joint. I wish I had a joint with me. I really do. But y'all know me, I get fired up. I get fucking fired up. That's my biggest sin. So that's my spill on Raphael Warnock. And once again, my bar is still low. Actually, let me check something. What is Warnock's position on Medicare fraud? I think I heard it, but I forgot. Let me check Medicare fraud. Cause I'm ripping into him. Oh man, hold up. So I think he does support Medicare fraud. Like this is my thing. This is my thing. This is where I stand. If you support Medicare for all, I'll vote for you. I hold my nose. But I will never stop shitting on you, even if you're wrong in a position like that. Yeah, we do live in a failed state. Danzo the Manzo. We do. I'm gonna get into that story as well. Like I still got stories set up here. Keep getting into these tangents. but we are a failed state. Um, let's see. My next story. I need to take some questions. Let me prepare this next story. Like I said, I have a few stories prepared for you. Ask me any questions that you guys have. And I remember that last debate I had this guy. He was pretty cool. He was a right winger who he was having a conversation. I don't think he was a troll. Like, a lot of people in the comments was going ham on him, but I think he was just debating in good faith. I think. Um, I want to hear people. I want to hear your guys' opinion on my breakdown and stuff. I want to engage with you guys where you guys disagree with me. I want to discuss any stories that you guys may see that you think may be interesting. Because what I try to do, I try to cover things that I find super. Like, I've been always been really into foreign policy because that's how I got radicalized into politics. Believe it or not, and based on what I found, like, explaining the war crimes of the U.S. government is actually one of the easiest ways to radicalize people against the establishment. And that goes against what a lot of people. Wait, hold up. Malcolm X warned us about black preachers. This is what I'm talking about. I love when you guys share great stories like this. So this 786 shared this. Let me see what this story says. So he said Malcolm X criticized black preachers. Dude, I can do another story on this. Dude, thanks for sharing this. I'm gonna read this. I don't think I've seen this before. I'm gonna save that so I can read it later. But one reason why I'm very into Malcolm X, MLK, and as I said, W.B. Du Bois, they are giant influences on me because Malcolm X, MLK, they were staunch anti-imperialists. And that's why, as I was mentioning before, I was radicalized during the George Bush administration. That's when I was growing up. I was in high school during George Bush's era, and that's when I started paying attention to politics a little bit. So when I think about things that was bad, think about what was bad about the Bush administration, right? Trickle down economics, tax cuts for the rich, religious extremism was one thing that really turned me off back then, and the war and the Iraq War, the Afghanistan War. There was a giant anti-war movement that led to Barack Obama being elected, and Barack Obama was elected on the MLK mandate of ending the wars. That's why I was excited about Barack Obama. So I bring that up because my core philosophy was anti-imperialism. I heard about how MLK was staunchly against the Vietnam War. I read into the Iraq War, the Afghanistan War, and I was radicalized. And that's why I supported Democrats in the first place, because I thought they was going to be anti-war. And then Barack Obama got in. And remember, all the things I said I didn't like George Bush for doing. I didn't like George Bush because he was a religious bigot. And at a time when Barack Obama and Joe Biden was elected, they didn't support gay marriage. I didn't like him because they put trickle-down economics. Barack Obama bailed out the banks, and he made the Bush tax cuts permanent. Well, he could have let it expire because those tax cuts had a sunset clause on it. So if you just let it expire, he didn't need Congress or Senate or anyone to do that. So pushing trickle-down economics, letting the Bush tax cuts become permanent, and then advancing endless war, taking 2 wars to 7, and bombing more people than George Bush. So that's radicalized me against Democrats. So once again, that's where my political view started, was being anti-imperialism, being anti-war. So I'm supposed to support the party that got me radicalized in the first place for doing things I didn't like. And I want people to understand that now we got Joe Biden as the president. You have corporate media still manufacturing consent against other countries like Venezuela, for example, because they want conflict in the Joe Biden administration. And that's exactly what you're going to get. Look at this. Look at this story. And this is why I find the corporate media to be beyond the pale. Let me find this here. Cause look how they cover the Venezuela election. our country is criticizing other people's country for a theater piece meant to lend veneer of legitimacy. Dude, he won. Dude, what is the difference between liberals and conservatives questioning the legitimacy of Venezuela election, even though they had outside election observers said that there were outside election observers looked at the Venezuela election and they said there was nothing wrong with the election here, but they still fearmonger over these elections. So he says it's a theater piece. Dude, Maduro won. What are you talking about? And he said who spent the last 7 years jailing opponents. You know the people they accused Maduro of jailing. He jailed them because there was a political assassination attempt on his life. That's what they don't tell you. So if you're telling me if someone tried to assassinate Joe Biden or Donald Trump, that they wouldn't go in prison. So what happened is members of the violent political opposition, the fascists, they tried to end his life multiple times. They tried to kill Nicolas Maduro. So in retaliation, they drilled him. Can you imagine if the same thing happened in America? And that's what they're criticizing Maduro for doing. That's what they're leaving out. Tearing apart opposition party. You mean how? Oh, you mean how like Democrats are tearing apart the Green Party? You remember how the Democrats forced Green Party candidates off the ballot and using extrajudicial killings to stifle dissent? You know who does that? You know who stifle dissent? Look up a man named Julian Assange. Julian Assange is dissent of the American government. And this is why I never understood people like, oh, we got to vote the fascists out. Joe Biden and Barack Obama led a historic war against journalism during their administration. They jailed and they tortured journalists for opposing the U.S. war machine. That's what they did. So how is that not going after political opponents? That's what I want to know. I'm trying to find the other one that man, I tweet too much. I'm trying to find the tweet. Cause I want to show you I want you guys to understand how the media gets people again to get people to be pro war. Let's see, where is the fucking tweet? That's another one I want to pull up since I found it. Look, oh no, there it is, there it is. This is how they report on their enemies. And I want you to understand they're doing this so they can justify conflict in Venezuela against Joe Biden, under a Joe Biden administration. Maduro tightens grip over Venezuela. What? What does that mean? Look at the framing there. Would you say Joe Biden tightens grip over America after beating Donald Trump? Will you say that? This is pure propaganda. Straight up propaganda. And this is the kind of stuff I want to point out on my show here. So hopefully, once again, hopefully you guys, if you are enjoying this, follow, subscribe. I need all support I can get. I'm still trying to grow. I got like 24, 25 subscribers now. I'm trying to get 100 by the end of the year. That's pretty ambitious. But I got 24. I got 53,000 followers on Twitter. I'm sure that at least I can get 100 people to subscribe on me, right? That's not too unreasonable. So let's go to the I'm trying to find an Aaron Matei tweet. Cause I want you guys to understand how bad things are gonna get. Feel free to drop your questions here in here as well. Because our media, MSNBC, is literally ran by the CIA. Like they take directives from the CIA to push pro-war. They have informants from the CIA that push pro-war policies. You don't believe me? Look at this headline. This headline came from MSNBC the other day. Imagine a sniper who can see twice as far as a human being. Just the idea that China is studying these things is pretty troubling. This guy says that China is conducting human tests to develop soldiers with biologically enhanced capabilities. Look at this. I'm glad they got Rachel. Look at that quote tweet. But the funny thing is, you know the guy who wrote this? You guys probably think I'm crazy when I said the CIA controls the media. But look at this. This is from Aaron Matei. The dude that wrote that story, this came from the Los Angeles Times. MSNBC hired a guy who was a CIA plant. You guys understand that, right? And that's the guy who ran that story. The CIA plant did. Thank you for the subscriptions, guys. I really appreciate that. Trying to get to 100 by the end of the year. But look at this. Extra boomer player. This is literally the CIA plants in the media, like we said they are in. That's the guy who wrote that story because they want people to be against China. They want us to feel like we have adversaries. These people ain't did anything to me. I don't know about you guys. Russia done nothing to me. Venezuela has done nothing to me. So when you see them fearmonger, like for example, against like the Venezuela election, how do they sound? Like if you see liberals who saying that Maduro didn't win, how is that any different from the MAGA people who claim that the MAGA people that said this election was fraudulent? It's the same thing. They're doing it without any evidence, just hearsay. And I found the Erica tweet because this is yeah, I was really just about to pull that up, boot the head, because this is my great friend Erica tweeted out. It's CRISPR. That's literally what they're doing. It's literally just propaganda. That came from CNN. I mean, so they came from MSNBC doing straight up state propaganda with CIA plants doing it. CRISPR. That was talking about how China uses CRISPR. We literally are developing medical purposes for it. That's what she's saying here. So someone kind of brought it up, but that's why I wanted to bring it up as well. I just saw that. Thank you guys for all the subscriptions. How the stream? Hope you guys enjoying it. Let's get to some comments. I've been ranting long enough here. So that's who our media is. That's who they work on behalf of the ruling class, right? I saw there's a few stories that came out of The Economist as well. That has been fucking hilarious. That's gonna be my next story. Talk about that. Yeah, Erica is the real MVP. Erica is the real one. So how do I get my family to understand that news like MSNBC is bullshit without belittling them? Every time I feel attacked. Oh damn, I lost the place. Oh Jesus. I saw the tweet. I saw the comment but it went away. Let's see. I'm trying to make them aware of propaganda they're absorbing daily. They can't accept that they're subscribed to propaganda. Once again, I actually started that point. I didn't finish it. But I use foreign policy and I use war to radicalize people. And despite what liberals say, despite what propagandists say, foreign policy is something that people can be connected with. The conventional wisdom is if you talk about foreign policy, you lose people. But I literally explain to people the amount of civilians that we kill. The easiest way I radicalize people against the establishment is I bring up the million dead Iraqis that result of the Iraq War. I bring up how the media constantly, like for example, with MSNBC, bring up the fact that they fired Ed Schultz for covering Bernie Sanders. What's the name of the anchor? Why am I blanking on his name? But I'm blanking on his name. They fired one. A lot of people from the comments probably know what I'm talking about, but they fired one of the reporters for being against the Iraq War. Like bring up instances of them lying about war, being complicit in terms of lying about war. I mean, I don't understand how people resistance to this shit because I come from an apolitical family for the most part. We are apolitical and lean Democrat. But it's super easy for me to get people against the establishment because I just tell people about their crime. I'm like, bro, these people are war criminals. Obama literally created slave markets in Libya. I bring this up and people are like, oh, damn, that's fucked up. Fuck them. So I want to ask, like, what is their response when you like bring up war crimes? When you bring up like rank corruption? Like when you bring up the fact that you have defense contractors. Like this is another thing you can use to get Phil Donahue. Thank you. Phil Donahue is the guy I was talking about. Thank you, comment. Phil Donahue was the guy who was fired for being against the Iraq War. So one thing I can easily get people to go against and radicalize against MSNBC is bring up the fact that they're sponsored by Raytheon and they've been for every single war. Thank you for gifting. 20 subscribers. Thank you. Thank you so much. My goal is to get to the 100. I really appreciate the support. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for the support. I appreciate it. Like I said, man, I just hit I had affiliate I think last month. Like I only been on Twitch for like 3 months. I got affiliate last month. I'm just trying to keep growing, man. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. And I think I try to share a black leftist perspective as much as I can. Give voice to the masses. I'm a citizen journalist. So like you guys who see my progressive roundtables, I bring in black left. I bring in everyday voices to talk about this kind of stuff. And when COVID in, I'll be on the field on a protest, doing real citizen journalism because you guys don't know all my plans. Like I plan on being in the field. Like, I don't plan on just being kind of a streamer. I'm doing it now because I have no choice because of COVID. But I want to be in the field, man. I want to be like you see Status Cool, like talking to journalists. I want to be at these rallies. I want to talk. I want to go to a rally with like Biden supporters and grill them about war. And that kind of stuff you're gonna see on my channel as I grow, as COVID in. You're gonna see me like literally in the trenches. So please follow and subscribe to my channel if you support me. If you want to donate as well, that's another great way to support me. PayPal only $5 or $10, be great. You said when I bring up war crimes to my mom, they literally said, "Well, we wouldn't be there for no reason." It makes me literally well up because she doesn't compute how many dead because Obama, Biden, and Bush. See, the only thing you can do in that situation is educate her, and this is why anti-war advocate has so hard. This is why we have it so hard because the burden on us, we have to understand the history of entire regions to explain to people why war is bullshit. So we are at a fundamental disadvantage compared to partisan hacks. Because what do partisan hacks have to do? Partisan hacks, they just repeat CIA talking points uncritically. And it's easy for them to do that. So they just repeat CIA talking points. They don't have to read books. They don't read history. But in order for us to explain why the Iraq War and the Afghanistan War, I have done hours of reading. We gotta understand the history of the entire region. So when I explain to people why the Iraq War is such bullshit, when I explain to them the Afghanistan War, for example, I did a story on my show how the Afghanistan War, the generals don't even know how they're even gonna win. Like there's no win condition for the Afghanistan War. Like I did this, I covered that in my earlier video. I may do another segment for my newer viewers now. In a nutshell, you literally had to explain the history of the whole region just to get people to understand why you should be anti-war. Like, do you guys know one big thing about Guantanamo? And this is something you can bring up to your family members as well. In the Afghanistan War, in the Iraq War, we tortured innocent people because we had contacts that was our allies that were essentially evil warlords, right? So we relied on them to report who are terrorists, and we will take these terrorists and we will torture them trying to get more information. But essentially, what the warlords were doing is they was turning over their political opponents and people who was opposition leaders against them. So, in a nutshell, we had no idea what we was doing. We took innocent civilians and tortured them just because they was the opposition of other warlords. That's just one of many examples of how the Afghanistan War, we had no idea what we was doing. And what exactly the win condition for Iraq and Afghanistan? Because this is the propaganda that they pull out. You want to know the propaganda they do to keep us in Iraq and Afghanistan? It's a no-lose situation for the military contractors. Because this is what they say during times of peace. So when violence goes down in Iraq and Afghanistan, they say, oh, well, our presence is the reason why violence is down. This is why we can't abandon the mission, because it's showing our mission is successful because violence slowed down since we're here. That's what they do when violence goes down. When violence goes up, they say, oh, things are out of control. Al-Qaeda, terrorist groups, all these groups are out of control. We got to stay here because the violence is out of control. You guys see what they did there? You guys see that? So when it's peace, they got to stay there. And where there's war, they got to stay there. So it's like the only thing I can suggest to you, you gotta just explain why the propaganda is not true. Let me find my tweet where I lay it out. Afghanistan. This is the tweet. I'm glad I got quick access to that. I didn't want to do this, but fuck it, why not? And I didn't do advertise tweets, so I'm gonna advertise before I break this down here. I'm gonna say breaking down why the Iraq and Afghanistan war is bullshit, and there is zero reason to oppose pulling out. Follow and subscribe for daily foreign policy and defund the police discussion. So that's my advertisement. Because I'm essentially doing, because I do want to do this segment again because I want you to understand. Thank you. You said it's, I think you said Charlene in the VC. You said this is an educational. That's what I want to do. I want to educate people about this concept because I always been a nerd who read into foreign policy. Because once again, George Bush and learning about the Iraq War and the Afghanistan War is why I became radicalized against the military-industrial complex and endless war. So ANCOM said, I'm glad I'm working on deprogramming shit-lived parents rather than growing up super conservative or having them be fucking bro-axis or anything. So yeah, like I said, having neoliberal parents is not as bad as having conservative parents for sure. I can't relate, man. I wish I could because my mom is apolitical. My mom supported Bernie Sanders because she wanted to support me, right? She don't care about she don't follow politics. It's never been her thing. She was a single mom raising 3 kids, working 2 jobs. She didn't have time to care about this shit. And my dad always been anti-establishment. He was the one who was telling me that racism never ended, but he is more aligned with Democrats. He's still aligned with Barack Obama, but he never trusts the government anyway. So I get it from him. I get my distrust towards authority from my father. So I never had an issue. So I have a hard time understanding as someone who converted a lot of people against the establishment. Like everyone I know, my brother, my friends, they all voted Green Party. I converted all these people, so I don't understand how your family can just disregard your opinion like that. I just don't understand that. So this is why anybody who's opposed to end the Afghanistan war is full of shit. And while I read this, I want you guys to understand that a lot of stuff they're talking about in terms of the Afghanistan war, this was happening under Barack Obama and Joe Biden. I want you guys to understand that, first and foremost. This was going on while Joe Biden and Barack Obama was in charge because, as it says here, a controversial trove of government documents obtained by the Washington Post reveals that senior U.S. officials failed to tell the truth about the war in Afghanistan throughout the 18-year campaign, making rosy pronouncements they knew to be false and hiding unmistakable evidence that the war had become unwinnable. This is just one of many stories. So if you want to convince your family to be against the military-industrial complex and the people pushing this war, you must share this story. Because they can't even say it's conspiracy theory. Because this comes from the Washington Post. It's not. I hate the Washington Post because I don't think they're credible. But people who believe they're credible, this comes from an establishment media that are reporting on how the Afghanistan war is completely illegitimate. So we are discussing how we get our parents to be against the establishment, against war. Show them, yeah, the Afghan papers. Yeah, I heard about that, but I need to read more into that. But as you see here, you can show the story to people, and then if they are hardcore Democrats, bring up the fact that this happened under Obama and Joe Biden. Obama and Joe Biden is a part of this administration that was lying to people about the Afghanistan war. And now I posted a few more sections here. And I said people had no idea how corrupt our government is. So this passage from this article here says as well, the U.S. government tried to shield identities of vast majority of those interviewed for this project and concealed nearly all the remarks. So the Washington Post was in a 3-year legal battle for them to even report this story. So can you imagine what is discovered that is not even reported on because they're not able to win the legal battles that the Post is able to? Like, I just wonder what is not reported on because Julian Assange has been made an enemy of the state for reporting on war crimes. I wonder how much stuff we don't know about that don't get reported because of the flexing of the U.S. Government. Now it continues. In the interview, more than 400 insiders offered unrestrained criticism of what went wrong in Afghanistan and how the United States became mirrored in nearly 2 decades of warfare. With a bluntness rarely expressed in public, the interviews lay bare pent-up frustrations, confessions, and second guessing and backing. So now, if you have a parent who is still supportive of Joe Biden, bring up the fact that Joe Biden never offered to end these wars. So Joe Biden still wants to continue this war that these government officials are saying is unwinnable. And once again, I don't know how your family will respond to that, but how can anyone see this and not become radicalized against the system? It's something beyond me. And you say you don't want to be condescending to your parents, but I'm sorry. I don't know how else you're supposed to get the point across. How can you say you're a good person if you are for continuing these endless wars that kill countless innocent civilians? How can you support a president that has a 90% drone strike civilian death count in Barack Obama? How can you rationalize those things? Doesn't make any sense to me. You probably have to become condescending to these people because they got to understand some way. That's not even the last thing I shared. Let's see what the last thing I shared. See, and I said anyone who want to stay in Afghanistan, they had to explain why this is okay. I think this is the worst of it. So these are some quotes. This is from a 3-star Army general who said, "We were devoid of fundamental understanding of Afghanistan." They didn't even know what they was doing. They didn't even know the different tribal factions of Afghanistan because Afghanistan is very rural. A lot of different factions. They didn't know. They didn't understand that. And then he added, they didn't even know what they was even doing in the Afghanistan war. We didn't even have the foggiest notion of what we was undertaking. And Lute also added, if the American people knew the magnitude of this dysfunction, 2,400 lives lost. These soldiers who died in vain, just like Mike Gravel said. Since 2001, 2,300 died, 20,000 American soldiers was wounded in action for a war that they didn't even know how they even gonna win it. Here, yeah, I'll give you guys a link. Here, I'm literally gonna link you guys an article. Here, link to the article. So the reason why I started this whole tangent is because I got great question in chat. Please send me some more questions because I'd love to go on another tangent like this. You must break this down to your family members. Explain to them, like as that article lay out. That article, that general said most Americans have no idea the incompetence of the war machine. So when they see Joe Biden and the Democrat Party continue to apologize for this is how you de-radicalize people. And people say you can't talk about foreign policy to ordinary people. This is why they are wrong. I'll talk to foreign policy to normal, everyday people because once you lay this out, it radicalizes them. It radicalizes them. So let's see what else anyone said. These numbers seem so small now next to COVID casualties. Yep. Man, I have another story on our government failing on COVID. It's so horrible. I look at this story with the Afghanistan war. I look at the story regarding the COVID and our government refusing to give us aid. And someone said earlier, I need to smoke a blunt and chill. How can I chill in this situation? How can we chill when we live in a failed state? They're allowing people to starve, right? How can we stay chill in this situation? I rage because I don't see any other way. How can I be in any other state other than rage? Check this out, guys, since we're on the topic. This is how every other country is treating their civilians. A percent of wages currently subsidized by the governments due to COVID. Japan, 100%. Netherlands, 9%. Norway, 9%. Germany, 87%. France, 84%. Italy, 80%. UK, 80%. Our neighbors, up to 75%. Our failed state, 0%. And people wonder why I am upset. People like, you need to chill, socialist MMA, progressive martial artist, Nick. You are too upset. You want to hold our ruling class too accountable. They say that despite this. There is not enough rage. There is not enough rage. It's just like my good friend Forgiving Chi lays out. 54% of our taxpayer go towards our fucking Pentagon. You want to know else? You want to know else? How does this not piss everyone in America off? Check this out. My homie Beth tweeted this out today. Because this story came out December 3rd. So why are they fighting for relief checks? And we got to fight for crumbs during the pandemic. And there's so much, there's such a divide in American politics that we can't come together for a COVID relief package, but we can fund the Pentagon for $740 billion. And you guys trying to tell me I'm too upset. Civility is the tool of the ruling class. So if you want the people that are like, oh, we gotta be nicer, we gotta be cool to the establishment, even though they're fucking us, You are being a useful idiot for the establishment. Bernie Sanders and Tulsi Gabbard, with their civility nonsense, are being a tool of the establishment. They both always will tone police and say, "Oh, we gotta be nice. We all gotta come together. We gotta have unity." Fuck unity. If you are for the people for this, we shouldn't be trying to unify with you. We should be trying to defeat you. We should be trying to recruit the 50% of people who don't vote, the people who are not too far gone, to defeat you. That's what politics is about. So how can you guys say I'm too? One of the comments, I forgot who said it. I need to chill, smoke a blunt. How can you guys say I'm too mad when this shit is happening? It's just like my good friend Beth points out. The question is, why aren't you angry? When there's a massive homelessness crisis, why aren't you angry? When you have this going on, let me pull this up. Look at me. Look, this is what they think of you, by the way. This is what the ruling class, and this is what capitalists think of you. This is the neoliberal paper. This comes from The Economist. If employees work remotely and no longer live in big expensive cities, companies, they don't have to pay them that much. This this is why everyone should be upset, because this is what the managerial class feels about us. We can't have the luxury to have anything. We have the luxury of working at home. They got to take that away because that's our bottom line. That's what they believe. We are nothing but slave worker ants. They're supposed to give our lives for these people for meager profit. And then if we have any benefit whatsoever, like staying at home, we should be paid less. Damn, bro, look at this. I didn't even check this. Look at this. They got 500 likes. And I'll just rage tweet it. Burning hell, capitalist swine. Because these are the people we're up against. Do you think the people who read this article, the people who are subscribed to The Economist, do you think they're all Trump supporters? Do you think they're all conservative? No, this is the liberals who believe in this shit. 60% of American workers live paycheck to paycheck. Vast majority, like most of the workers, make $30,000 left, and these people believe we should be paid less. And people think I'm too mad. I will never apologize for being upset. I will never apologize for being. I will never apologize for being unhinged against the ruling class. I will never apologize for bashing Obama. I will never apologize for bashing the Black Congressional Caucus. I will never apologize for voting green. I will never apologize for hating the Democrat Party just as much as I hate the Republican Party, because as I mentioned before, civility is the tool of the ruling class. And people like Bernie Sanders, I can't believe he fell for that shit when he tried to be nice to Joe Biden instead of calling out his record. Instead of being aggressive like he should, instead of calling out Nancy Pelosi like the squad should, they're so busy being nice while the Democratic Party got their boot to our neck. You got Joe Biden literally hiring a right-wing cabinet, spinning on progressive policies. These same people are shitting on progressive ideas. Bernie Sanders and the squad say, "Yes, sir, can I have another?" Once again, like people hate on AOC, but AOC has been more combative against the establishment than Bernie Sanders has been. At least AOC called out Rahm Emanuel. At least AOC called out these horrible cabinet picks. What Bernie Sanders been on the near Tandon selection? On these fossil fuel executives that are being hired by Joe Biden. Joe Biden, Defense Secretary and Secretary of State, are literally shills of the weapon manufacturers. That's what they did. Where is the progressive outrage about this? Because they want to be civil to the Democratic Party. And they are leading progressive off a cliff by preaching this shit. And that includes Tulsi Gabbard as well. Because she's the one who always be like, unity this, unity that, unity this. We gotta come together. Fuck that. Just in case for people to know, because I'm friends with a lot of Tulsi supporters. And Toast supporters, they go hard on Bernie and the squad. And as you guys see in my stream, I go hard on Bernie and the squad as well. But a lot of the criticism that applied to Bernie and the squad also applies to Toasty. So I never understood why Toasty people are like light on her, but then they take it easy on Bernie. He said, I'm going to send you, Lucas Hunter said, I'm going to send you a Eugene Debs quote on Twitter. Hell yeah. Send me that. I love, like I said, I study Malcolm X, MLK, and W.B. Du Bois, Eugene Debs, all these people, but I'm not perfect. I don't know all this shit. So I love that you people, I love that my mutuals and the people who watch my stream educate me as well. I appreciate you guys more than you guys know. He said, and they go hard on Toasty too. To be fair, like if I'm missing the people who go hard on Toasty, I apologize. Like I'm not trying to misrepresent anybody, but for the people I know, they soft on Toasty when shit like applies to her too, right? Like all my critics, like people will get mad at AOC and Squad for not calling out Nancy Pelosi. But why isn't Toasty calling out Nancy Pelosi? The fuck? Why aren't you guys getting mad for Toasty not calling them out? Once again, my criticism apply across the board. Why are you guys not calling out Toasty for not supporting defund the police? I see people shit on Bernie Sanders for. I literally seen Toasty people shit on Bernie Sanders like I did for not supporting defund the police, but Toasty doesn't support defund the police either. Let's see. Biden talk about. I get some question. Biden talk about Americans don't want a handout, bitch. Oh my God, you just reminded me about that segment I was about to do about Joe Biden and his handout. Man, see, I'm on 2 hours in. Like when I actually get a chance to stream, I can do this shit all day. I'm a beast. I'm 2 hours in. I can go. I can talk about the Joe Biden. I'm a political nerd, guys. I told you. Like people like, why do you tweet so much, Nick, about politics? Because I can't turn this shit off. I'm always thinking about politics. I can rant about this shit all day. And the Joe Biden tweet, once again, I see that tweet, him using right wing talking points. My last string, I did a segment breaking down Neera Tanden use of right wing talking points, which is talking about advocating for cuts of Social Security and Medicaid. And you had Joe Biden literally using the handout point, talking point. Same Republican talking point. And liberals are eating that shit up. You guys are just like Republicans. Why should I vote for Joe Biden when he's literally a Republican? I'm more anti-Republican than you guys are. Liberals accuse me of helping the Republican Party. Meanwhile, Joe Biden liberals are repeating the talking points of the Republican Party, and Joe Biden is hiring Republicans. So someone explain that to me. He said Toasty did call Hillary the queen of all warmongers, and I give Toasty credit for that. Toasty deserved credit for calling out Hillary and being very combative against the Democrat Party. But where was that fire against Joe Biden? She didn't attack Joe Biden nearly enough as she should. Just like I don't think Bernie should did attack him enough as he should. You radicalized not only myself but so many others to the left of Bernie. Man, I'm trying to read the comment, but I keep falling behind and Twitch not. Okay, so thank you, Social Sienna. I appreciate you so much. You one of my favorite people on Twitter, and you've been with me on the stream for a while. I'm glad. Like I get so many messages from people tell me they voted green because of my tweets, and they became radicalized because of my tweets. And if I can change one person's mind, this shit is worth it, right? This shit is worth it if I can change one person's mind on defund the police, on the Democrat Party. If I can get one person to vote green, but I get a lot of messages like that, so I'm super grateful for that. For you sharing with that with me. Mm-hmm. Let's see. How about I got a lot of good comments in. Our supply system plus the corporate funding pretty guaranteed about outcomes. Yeah. Anyone stay out streaming here, please? I'm about to just let me run to the restroom real quick. I'll be right back, guys. Do not go anywhere. I'm literally like I've been 2 hours in. I just got to use the restroom for 1 second. 1 second, guys. You guys are still with me. I'm glad. Thank you for everyone who stayed. I'm sure I lost someone. I don't blame you guys. I got a short attention span. So if you dipped out during the 2 second take me for taking my pee break, it's cool. What would the shade of Ah, never change. Never change. So let's turn it over to some comments here. I think I got another story for you guys. I got another story. Let's see. I'm falling behind on the comments here. I did wash my hands. Don't call me out. I just sent a tweet and your replies about the moderates. I need to check my what am I missing? Dude, I'm like so behind my comments. I wish it didn't refresh every time too, because I'm like, man, I'm behind on the comments here. Thoughts on the People's Party? Great. That's one question I missed. Bro, my notifications still stay on +20. I can't even check them no more, really. Explain how Biden has been worse to black folks than Trump. Great question, dude. Well layup. So let me write it down because I'm like I said, I'm behind on the question. I'm gonna get to all of them. So we have the People's Party, why Biden is the most anti-black public servant in American history. So let's do the Biden one first because I talked about People's Party a few times, and let's talk about that as well. Send me. You say you replied to one of my tweets. Do you got link the tweet in the comment? Because dude, I cannot find any of my replies on Twitter. My mentions in my Twitter page is a shit show. It's a straight up shit show. You think it's good for Josh Hawley to vote with AOC for stimulus checks? Yep. Anyone who supports stimulus checks, I'm happy with. Still fuck Josh Hawley though. He's a fascist. But I give you props when you do something right. So to get into why, actually, I said I was gonna advertise this. I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to know why I think Joe Biden is the most anti-black public servant in the modern era. I laid it out a few times on my stream, but I got new viewers here. I did a video why Joe Biden is horrible. During the course of the primary, I did like a 22, 23-minute video on my YouTube page going through his policies and his record. So let's advertise this on Twitter because I'm sure people want to know. Here I discuss why Joe Biden is the most anti-black Democratic nominee. How should I put it? I say why Joe Biden the most anti-black. I'll say anti-black public servant in the last 40 years. Do people like? I guess that is clickbait a little bit, but it's not. Like, how am I wrong? Well, I'm gonna break down exactly why. Once again, some people who see my streams before saw me break it down. I'm gonna do it again. Dude, we are 2 hours in. I'm a beast. The only reason I might have to stop is because I might have to get something to eat. I only had half a steak today. That's the only reason I might have to stop. Dude, so if I could stream later this evening, will you guys come back? I'm asking. Because I'm having fun, man. I need to start doing this more often, but I wish I had a studio so I can do this shit in a controlled environment. Guess what time it is? It's 4 o'clock. My brother about to be off work. He said he'd go to the gym, so I may have a little bit left. But he's going to come home, and then we might have to get cut off from there. Or you guys have to deal with my brother in the background. So I just tweeted that advertising now. So let's go. Joe Biden is the most anti-black public servant in the modern era. The obvious go-to to explaining why that is the crime bill, right? The crime bill ravaged the black community and created the custodial state that we live in right now. That essentially is the new Jim Crow. The new Jim Crow is, since we have equal voting rights and we have equal power after the civil rights movement, all that kind of stuff. They had to find another way to disenfranchise black voters, disenfranchise the black community. So what they did is they started locking them up. They started a drug war to give them felonies. So when they give them felonies, they're not allowed to vote. So the crime bill made it easier to give out felonies. They created 3-strike laws. There's like constant horrible legislation within the crime bill that blew up our crime rate. And the crime bill alone absolutely shattered the black community. And you had great progressive leaders like Bernie Sanders at the time that was warning against that. And you had the Black Congressional Caucus. Another reason why I'm a big critic of the Black Congressional Caucus, because this is what liberals say all the time. Well, the Black Congressional Caucus was supportive of the crime bill. Yeah, the Black Congressional Caucus is full of fucking sellouts. Of course they did. Like I mentioned earlier, the Democrats get more police funding than Republicans do. So of course they supported the crime bill. So, but what I do, I don't even focus on the crime bill as much to explain why Joe Biden is the most anti-black. Because you could just bring up the crime bill and discuss that, and that's adequate enough to make an argument why Joe Biden is one of the most anti-black people in the history, or in modern American history. But another reason I find Joe Biden to be one of the most anti-black is his support of the bankruptcy bill and his service as a Wall Street and credit card company shill his entire life. So what I mean by that, I broke down earlier on this show before. Actually, why not pull up the source again? You know, Joe Biden voted against the amendment. I'm trying to find the article. Bankruptcy bill. So you guys don't think I'm making this up. Joe Biden voted against the amendment in the bankruptcy bill that would have eased the burden of those suffering from medical debt. Do you guys know how unhinged that is? He voted against amendments that will ease the burden of those suffering from student loan debt. Now, let's get to the medical debt part first, right? Who suffers the most from medical debt? Black people. Because black people, we have effectively 10 to 15 times less wealth than white families. So since we don't have income and we don't have the wealth required to pay for our medical bills, and because we are more likely to be underinsured or uninsured, we pay giant medical bills. Joe Biden voted against eating that burden. And let me pull this one up here. Black medical debt. Right now, I'm just pulling up receipts. Cause you know how all the medical debt that is held, 31% of all medical debt is held by black people. Black people are 13% of the population with no wealth, but we got 31% of medical debt. That is directly because of Joe Biden and him going to bat for Big Pharma his entire life. Look at this. Non-elderly black people more likely to have past due medical debt. So this study is between 18 and 64 because they're studying people who don't have Medicaid. 31% of black people have past due medical debt. Now combine that with this story. The Americans Joe Biden left behind on the bankruptcy bill. Because the thing is, I don't understand that you have even progressive outlets that wouldn't cover how horrible the bankruptcy bill was. The crime bill is the obvious one, which I bring up all the time. But you have people, white progressives, who try to get me to vote for my oppressor, who is directly responsible for financial crimes against black people. So before I dive into this article, let me tell you guys a story. I used to sell cars, so I know this very well. A few years ago, I got a check in the mail from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. So the agent that Elizabeth Warren started, because there was a lawsuit against Toyota and a lot of other car manufacturers, and that lawsuit found that they was charging black customers a higher interest rate for car loans, when the income level was the same and when the credit level was the same, we was being charged a higher interest rate than white customers on car loans. So I got a check for $1,000 in the mail a few years ago because during my first car loan I paid about 18 to 19% interest because we didn't know shit about cars. My mom was there; she was a single parent. We got hustled. Apparently, I was one of the people that was discriminated against. I'll link the article for you guys. I was one of the people who were discriminated against, and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau helped me get a check. You know, Joe Biden fought against amendments that would made it easier to go after these frauds. You understand that, right? So, once again, this is why you should follow and subscribe to a Black Leftist channel, a Black Leftist stream, because I will break this down. Because I was affected by these policies that Joe Biden laid out. So I was literally, during my struggling time, right after college, I was paying an insanely high interest rate for my car loan. And I was, like I am now, living paycheck to paycheck. Can you imagine how much easier my life would have been if I wasn't paying this high interest rate I would charge? Because these financial institutions not having the accountability. And remember, this is what Joe Biden fought for. As I get to the article, I'm going to get to later, you will see how Joe Biden fought to make it harder to go after these fraudsters that charged me a higher interest rate when I got my car loan. So people were like, oh, you don't want to vote for Joe Biden? How dare you don't want to vote for Joe Biden? Bitch, Joe Biden literally crafted policies that hurt my life. And you want me to vote for my oppressor? Vosh wanted me to vote for a guy who made me have that responsible for me paying a higher interest rate on my car loan. Vosh wanted me to vote for the guy who voted against amendments that would ease medical debt. I got family members who are in medical debt right now. These are the people that white progressives wanted me to vote for. So this is why I tell people Joe Biden is the most anti-black. Because I got stories about Biden's legislation, not just the crime bill, the bankruptcy bill, that destroyed the black community and destroyed our quality of life. So I got into this because the question asked me why I think Joe Biden is more anti-black than Trump. Trump is not pro-black by any stretch of the imagination. I want you guys to get that clear. But Donald Trump has been in public service for 4 years. For 4 years. Compare the damage that Donald Trump did over these 4 years compared to the massive amount of damage of the crime bill and the bankruptcy bill. It's not even comparable. Not even close. Then you add the work that Joe Biden did fighting against desegregation. He worked with notorious racists. How is Joe Biden not the most anti-black public servant in the most recent American history? After hearing me break down the bankruptcy bill and the crime bill, let's read through that article I just sent out now. Because I wanted to tell you guys this before I got into my spill. And see, this is what I said earlier. Derp said, I didn't know you streamed. Thank you for the subscription. I appreciate that so much, homie. And I mentioned before, sorry guys, I had to advertise a little bit more on my Twitter because there's so many people who don't know I stream. I got 53,000 followers on Twitter, but no one knows I stream because I don't advertise enough. So please, if you're enjoying this, if you learned something on this stream, if you want to support Black Leftists, please follow and subscribe. Because this is the kind of breakdown you get on Joe Biden that you're not going to get on Boss's stream. You're not going to get on David Doe's stream. These people who are telling us to vote for Joe Biden. Because they wasn't affected by these policies that I'm laying out about the bankruptcy bill. The people who hear me bring up the bankruptcy bill and how it affected black families' lives, where have you heard this breakdown from? Because I was disappointed, honestly. I'm watching videos from progressives that I like who didn't break this shit down. And that's why I got into the streaming game. I'm like, dude, there's a big segment of the left that's missing this shit right now because our biggest influence are white leftists. So please follow and subscribe if you want to get more context like this. Because I say this shit all the time on Twitter. People ask me, how am I blocked by 3,000 people on Twitter? Because I bring this shit up. I will say stuff that people think is inflammatory. I will say Barack Obama and Joe Biden are some of the most anti-black people one of the most anti-black public servants in modern American history, and people will be like, "What? You just saying this for clicks? You just saying this for clout?" Meanwhile, I'll break this shit down policy-wise, and then when I do that, they block me. You know why? Because white liberals are not used to my voice. Even white progressives are not used to my voice. When I lay out these policies and why Joe Biden is more anti-black, do you hear that on Voss stream? Do you hear that on David Doe's stream? Do you hear this on Mike Figueredo? I like Mike Figueredo actually, but these are the people that was like, "Oh, we should vote for Joe Biden." I should vote for the guy who's responsible for massive medical debt in my community. I should vote for the guy who made it harder to go after the fraudsters that frauded me on my first car loan. And this happened to constant black people because that's when I used to work for Toyota. I used to sell cars. So when this lawsuit happened, I didn't even know I was one of the people that affected. We had to go through a whole sensitivity training and anti-racial discrimination training because Toyota got hit hard by this lawsuit, Toyota Financial. Because once again, they were one of the people that were charging black people more, and Joe Biden made it harder to go after these people. So let's see what I missed. Because once again, I just gave a very quick breakdown of why he personally affected my life. But the bankruptcy bill, the reason why people don't talk about it because it's very extensive. And as someone know before, I forgot who, damn. But it was the most anti-working legislation, working class legislation in modern American history. The bankruptcy bill was. But progressives are not talking about it. Progressives are pretending that Joe Biden was the lesser of two evils when he pushed for this garbage ass policy. And this is why I was going after the white leftists, because these are the same people who are leading people off the cliff with this bullshit. So let's dive into the policy. Let's see what I missed. Because I gave you guys a quick, comprehensive breakdown on why I think Joe Biden is the most anti-black. Let's go through this article so you guys can understand exactly what we're dealing with. And while I do that, I'm going to cut one more advertisement on Twitter because, like I said, a lot of you people don't know I even stream. And I'm sorry once again, I'm doing a story. I'm going to get into the comments very soon. Stick with me, please. So you can leave a comment and I'm going to get to you guys' questions. If you have any stories that you guys want me to cover, I can do that as well. But before I dive into this article, I want to tweet it out one more time because I want people to understand what we're dealing with when we're talking about Joe Biden. Okay. So, I'm tweeting my ass off, but people need to know I stream. Joe breaking down Joe Biden's bankruptcy bill and why he is a danger to the working class. The bankruptcy bill is one of the most anti-working class legislation of modern American history. I don't want to say modern. I'm going to say it literally is one of the most anti-working class legislations. Alright, then let me link my Twitch. So I got like 30 people watching now. I appreciate you guys checking me out. Okay, so let's dive into this article. Before I do that, let me check a few comments out. Like I said, I usually try to be as interactive as I possibly can. Fresh Cow said, agree that Biden's record is garbage, but do you think he would do comparable damage moving forward? I don't see any reason why he wouldn't. He already, like as we mentioned before on the stream, Joe Biden is already using right-wing talking points. He already attacking stimulus checks as a handout. So he already setting the stage to implement austerity. You understand that, right? And now we got a smaller stimulus deal. Let me pull this article up before I go to this one. Because this is something else. Biden smaller. There we go. Did the media you watch cover this? Watch this. And now you got, once again, you had Joe Biden. Oh, damn. Forbes not letting me in. Shit. But this story is supposed to say, fuck. Joe Biden privately pushing for smallest stimulus deal. I put it in the chat because I'm blocked, but because I read too much politics. I don't pay for none of this shit. But look at this. Nancy Pelosi already said she want to take smaller stimulus deal because of Joe Biden, and now Joe Biden is saying he's open for a small. They say he's privately pushing for a smaller stimulus deal. And this is the story I tell about all the time regarding 2008. Once again, do anyone tell you this as well? In 2008, Barack Obama put Joe Biden in charge of negotiating with Mitch McConnell when it comes to relief for the 2008 financial crisis. And he was doing such a bad job negotiating with Mitch McConnell. You had moderate Democrats like Steny Hoyer, Heidi Heitkamp. You had a lot of these people. You even had Dianne Feinstein came out and said they don't know what Biden even doing. He's giving away the farm to Mitch McConnell during the 2008 financial crisis, right? So he has a history working with Mitch McConnell. He has a history of pushing austerity, and he already implementing that now. So when you campaign, and this is what people need to understand, he's gonna say all the right things. And this is why whenever people like Voss or whatever these progressives pushing the idea we should vote for Joe Biden, they will drive me crazy because they will bring up his platform. Why the fuck are you bringing up Joe Biden's platform? Like that means anything. Like he's not a serial liar. Like he's not. Like he wouldn't say anything to get elected. Your platform means nothing to me. Your record means way more than your platform. The reason why I believe Bernie Sanders' platform because he had a record showing that he would advocate for those things. So I'm supposed to believe Joe Biden's going to get rid of student loan debt when his record showed that he's responsible for the student loan debt crisis in the first place? I don't believe him. Like they said Joe Biden's going to end the genocide in Yemen. I don't believe him. Like on this point, I concede I don't have any evidence, and I'm willing to apologize if I'm wrong. But I don't believe for one motherfucking second that Joe Biden's going to end the genocide in Yemen. 1 second. He said that so he can get elected. He might. He may not. He might. He may not. But even if he ends the genocide in Yemen, he's going to take that and reallocate that to another conflict. Because Joe Biden want to increase the military budget. He said that. He want to increase the police budgets. He want to increase the military budgets. So at what point do I look at your argument that he's the lesser of two evil and say you're full of shit if you're pushing that? How many policy platforms do I have to go over until people acknowledge this? Oh, but Trump is worse. Maybe. But you're getting a different brand of evil that will have complete media complicity on his behalf. And Joe Biden. And guess what? You guys think you're going to put Joe Biden in a Democrat Party to the left? You're not going to do that. Actually, the exact opposite has happened. Instead of you pushing Democrats to the left, because Bernie Sanders and the squad gave Joe Biden credibility, Joe Biden and the Democratic Party moved the Democratic voters to the right. What do I mean by that? You know, vast majority of Democratic voters supported ending the fracking, a ban on fracking. I think it was like 60-70% of Democratic voters support ban on fracking. And then Joe Biden and Kamala Harris did a blitz where they said they don't support banning fracking. And because of that, the support for banning fracking went from like 60-70% among the Democrat Party to 40%. So instead of us pushing Joe Biden and the Democratic Party to the left, Joe Biden and the Democratic Party pushed the voting base to the right. You know how they were able to do that? They were able to do that because Bernie Sanders and the squad gave Joe Biden credibility by lying to people that he had a good climate plan. Climate change is not a middle ground issue. You either believe in the sciences, you either have the emissions required to meet the standards as of 2030, or you don't. Thank you for watching, Seven. You either do or you don't. And he didn't. And he didn't ban fracking. So just because Bernie Sanders, LC, and the squad pretend he did have a good climate plan, he was able to drag the party to the right. So the exact opposite is happening. The lesser of two evils is still really evil. Yep. Let's get to some comments. I'm like 2 hours in. I'm supposed to read this article. Let's read this article. I'm reading it to eat. If I'm able to stream later today, I will. But please, subscribe. Turn on notifications, whatever you gotta do. Because whenever I go live, I'll tweet it out, let you guys know. Your guys' comments have been amazing. But this is the article I said I was gonna read out. I read it a few times so I can get used to Biden's bankruptcy record. Because people will never talk about it. It would drive me crazy. In 2005 amendments to the bill, Biden voted against borrowers drowning in medical debt. Seniors members, union members, and victims of deadbeat dads. How is this the lesser of two evils? How? Someone explain that to me. So this is going to detail. I think this is article I got. It said the bankruptcy bill was perhaps the most anti-middle class piece of legislation in the past century. And this is why I don't give Elizabeth Warren credit. Because Elizabeth Warren, she made her entrance into politics going after Joe Biden in the Democratic Party, but now she's complicit with them. Now she didn't attack Joe Biden on this at all throughout the course of the campaign. Elizabeth Warren is a sellout. A sellout is worse than someone who's been our enemy from day one because they sheep herding people to our enemy. So this is why I had no respect for Elizabeth Warren, because she was an agent of Joe Biden and she wanted to work for Joe Biden, even though Joe Biden is responsible for the shit that she wrote against, and she made her political name going against Joe Biden. And now she's sold out to him. Right? So let's go into the details here. I'm looking for a particular paragraph that really, because this they laying out like all the bankruptcy. What they doing here is to save some time. They pretty much laying out how his policy made it so much harder for people that struggling under bankruptcy. But this is the comment. This is the paragraph I always like to focus on. This is the one I tweeted about. Biden consistently voted against efforts to soften the blow on vulnerable populations. He voted against 3 amendments to ease bankruptcy requirements. He voted against an amendment that would have helped seniors keep their homes. And guess what seniors who lost their home at the highest rate? Black people. Our wealth tanked because we lost our homes. That's what, once again, Joe Biden is responsible for that, and that's why he one of the most anti-black public figures in the modern era. He voted against exempting service members and widows of service members killed in actions from laws of eligibility restrictions. He voted against an amendment to exempt women whose financial trouble stemmed from deadbeat husbands' failure to own. Like, this is literally, like, people say Trump is evil. What is more evil than that? What is more evil than voting for an amendment that exempt women whose financial trouble stems from deadbeat dads' failure to pay child support or alimony? What? Like, this is top level evil shit. That and voting for the Iraq War. All the things that Joe Biden is responsible for is top tier evil shit that I don't understand how anyone can claim makes him better than make him better than Donald Trump. This is even like Biden voted against an amendment that would ensure that children of debtors could still be given birthday and Christmas presents. Are you kidding? Like, this is the most evil shit. Biden voted against allowing debtors to pay their union dues during bankruptcy. Okay, so we got to the worst of it. So the people who wanted us to vote for Joe Biden, Voss, David Dole, Mike Figueredo, these people, did they point any of this stuff out? How can you say this man is not as evil as Donald Trump after I just read that shit out to you? He voted against an amendment that would make it easier for women who are struggling under debts because of deadbeat parents, deadbeat fathers. How is that not the most evil shit you ever heard in your life? Jesus. And whenever I bring this stuff up, because liberals then don't like it and they can't refute it, they block me. That's why I got so many people that block me on Twitter. That's exactly why. Because I laid out this shit. And they don't even hear this from the left. For the left, the people on the left, Bernie Sanders, and our influencers, they be like, yeah, I think Biden's a lesser evil. I think Biden's a lesser evil. They hurt us when they do that. And you can tell by what I just laid out here why that's the case, right? Woo, man, I'm hungry, boy. I am really, really hungry. So I think that could be our last story. I still actually have like two stories saved here. Like, I actually have two more stories I can run, but I'm about 2 hours in. I'm a beast. Like, who does solo streams at almost 3 hours like this without almost any experience? So, as you see, I'll break down like very specific things about Biden record and Democrats record. And I'll break down Republicans records too. But people know how bad Republicans are. If you feel like you learned anything from this stream, if you enjoy just having this conversation with me, please, please subscribe. Please follow. Also, donate to the PayPal here as well. Like I said, I want to eat. I need to eat, but I'm having fun with you guys. Now my thing is I need to stream more consistent instead of doing these 2 or 3 hour streams. So please check me out every day here at 2 o'clock Central, 3 p.m. Eastern. Um, so thank you guys for watching the stream. I think I'm gonna call it because I'm starving. Make stream later tonight, or I'll be back at 3 p.m. Eastern. What are you gonna eat? Like I got this steak, man. I'm trying to eat steak and broccoli because I want to fight again. Man, I need to get off here before I get into that tangent, man. Because a lot of people don't know. I ended with this. Like before I went to Canvas with Bernie, I was sparring last year. I felt great. I'm in my physical prime right now in terms of strength, conditioning, and I got knowledge of the game now. Like I always spar against pro fighters. Always been highly proficient at boxing and kickboxing, but I reached the next level last year, and I was considering fighting because I didn't like my job selling cars. I got in really good shape. Then I put that on hold to canvas for Bernie Sanders in South Carolina. I ate a lot of Southern food down there. Like, all right, as soon as I get done canvassing for South Carolina and Bernie, South Carolina, I'm gonna start my training again, start fighting because I want to fight this year. But then COVID hit, COVID-19 hit, and then I couldn't train no more. So